Hey, how's everybody doing?
Great. Hey, Coach. This is Brandon Helwig. I cover UCF for Rivals.com. Welcome to Orlando.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, can you just kind of talk about this kind of how this process started with you and Coach Malzahn? Some of the coaches have pre-existing ties, and I've worked with them before. You had
Yeah.
never have. So how did that connection get started? And on top of that, how excited are you to be here at UCF?
First of all, I'm extremely excited. But just going back to my previous relationship with Coach Malzahn, and back in 2014, I was a high school coach, and Coach was at Auburn, obviously, and he called me up. He interviewed me for one of his analyst positions then, and at that point, unfortunately, I didn't get it, but I think we both grew, a really large amount of respect for each other. So we kind of always, I would text him every now and then, from year to year. And in this situation, when it came up, he shot me a text and was like, "Give me a call," and it kind of just happened fast. So, man, but I'm really excited. Extremely excited to work with Coach Malzahn and the rest of the guys on the staff, and it's been fun since I've gotten here.
Tim, this is Matt Rochelle from the Orlando Sentinel. You obviously knew of UCF being down at FIU and everything. What were your impressions of the program, and what drew you to take this job then?
It was a no-brainer. Obviously, I think, again, what I said with my relationship with Coach Malzahn leading up to this, that made it, a lot easier. But when you watch from afar, being at another program that was in state and seeing what these young men have been able to do with this program year after year, building it to what, where it is now, and they've really set a really good foundation. And when you watch from afar, the style of play that they're playing with, the emotional on the defensive side, it's I can't think of anything else as saying no brainer. It was a no brainer for me. But I'm extremely excited to be here, and I know we've only scratched the surface of what our vision is for the program as a new staff, and I'm just really excited to be a part of it.
Hey, Coach, Andrew Gluco, Black and Gold Banneret. You come from Florida International at FIU, and
Sure.
obviously have some exposure to UCF as a football program. Take us to the process of jumping from one school to the other, because you were very much ingrained in the FIU culture.
Yeah, I was blessed to be in one spot, for 6 years, and in this profession all the time, that's not always the case. But when certain opportunities come up, you get a gut feeling about them, and as coaches in our profession, things come up from time to time, and you kind of can sit back and say, no, that's not something that I want to do with myself and my family. But when this situation came up, the gut feeling initially was just, hey, Tim, you have to do this. And, again, like I said, when you watch the program and what the guys here have been able to accomplish, you just think of what it can be. And that's what I saw from the forefront. And, it was hard to leave a place that I had been so long, but what made it easier is when you're going to a place that's only going to continue growing. And I can't express enough how excited I am to be here. And, I'm just really looking forward to getting rolling and continuing to set goals to move the program forward.
Hey there, Coach. Good afternoon. This is Kyle Nash with the 3-point conversion. It seems you're the latest in a line of coaches as part of the Gus Malzahn Hair on Fire hiring campaign there. But now that you're in the building, you and the coaches have gone to the woodshed and you're getting prepared for spring practice. What challenges are brought to you as the running back coach, having lost a lot of good depth and a lot of players over the past couple seasons, from your perspective?
When you come into any new situation, you don't know many of the kids. You haven't been around them. You don't know their work ethic. You don't know, what their strengths are and weaknesses are, because you watch games on TV, so you might have seen some guys a little bit more than others. But for me, it's just been about meeting the guys that we do have here. And meeting those young men and talking to them about their goals. I'm really excited to coach them. I really do feel that that all of those guys have potential to do really good things with us moving forward. So the biggest thing right now, though, is just evaluating them on a day-to-day basis and what they're doing in the strength and conditioning program. And then, getting to March 15th and being able to get out there and work with them from a football standpoint, and letting whatever they do from that point, speak for them, because, there may be some similarities in what we do schematically to, some of the things that they've done before, but, we want to give everybody a fresh start to prove, who they are as a player. So I'm more so focused on what they've done since I've gotten in the building this week. And that part has been strengthening and conditioning things with our strength and conditioning staff. And then from the football stage, March 15th, I'll be able to answer more of those questions. But I'm excited about all of them. I think they all have the right demeanor. Guys have the right mindset and where they want to go with their careers. And then them focusing on the total program, them wanting to do whatever it is, for our team to be successful. So, I'm just excited to get out there and work with those guys and go from there.
Hello, Coach. Trace Trelko, Sons of UCF. You've developed a reputation for developing some NFL caliber running backs. What's been key for you in developing a running back?
Just more than anything, it's just making sure. Again, at my last place, I was there so long. You have the opportunity to, deal with. I had the opportunity. All the guys that I've coached, I pretty much recruited there for the most part. And you want to find kids that, have the right mindset and what they want to do with their lives. And that's where I always start. I think if you're doing things the right way in every facet of your life, the football part will take care of itself. But, accountability is one thing. I think being where you're supposed to be, when you're supposed to be there, being very detailed in how you work, on and off the football field, and just, having goals and wanting to be good. When you're around young men that want to be good, that makes everyone's job easier. And I feel that way already about the guys that I've been in communications with here that are still, on our team. But at the place that I was at and everywhere, as a high school coach, all that I focus on is the very little details and guys being accountable. If we can do that on a consistent basis, the football part will take care of itself. And like you said, I've been able to have some success with, coaching some guys that have gone on and gotten opportunities at the next level. But it all started with those base things.
Hey, Tim, Jason Beatty with 24/7 Sports. We've been talking a lot about FIU, but before you were at FIU, you were a head coach and offensive coordinator at a pretty well-known high school, Booker T. Washington. Taking back to those days when you worked with your father, winning state championships, and how does that high school experience help you at a college level?
I think when you're a high school coach, you deal with the kids on so many different levels. So the relationships part is always most important. And I try to keep that at the forefront of, being at this level. Relationships are super important to me. If your kids understand, that you care about them on and off the football field, it's not just about the X's and O's, they'll play hard for you. And I learned that as a before I even got into coaching, being born into it, my dad, being a coach, pretty much my entire life. And I've kind of just taken that with me, every day. And every day that I come in the building, I make sure that my mind gets on track with letting the young men know that, I care about you. I care about you, whether you the starting running back and, and leading us in rushing, or you the guy that, don't get a lot of reps. I care about you and I want you to be successful. And, I really think that part stays with me because of my high school coaching background.
Coach Brandon Helwig again, Rivals.com. There's obviously a lot of good players in different parts of the country, Georgia, Texas, California, obviously Florida as a state. But I think everyone agrees, and I think you might agree with me as well. If there's one area that has the best talent, it's Miami, South Florida. There's just so much good football being played at the prep level, translates to college, and you see it in the NFL. What is it about, guys from that area, someone who's grown up there and coached there with your father? What is it that, makes players from that area just so special?
Well, yeah. First thing before even answering that, you're right. There are great players everywhere throughout our state, but down in South Florida, I just think that from a day-to-day basis, from you watch South Florida Little League football, kids have to compete at a high level, and sometimes there's a lot of pressure on kids at a very young age that you don't get everywhere. So kids, they grow up fast in competitive sports. And, and I think from every level that they go to, from little league to high school, and then obviously to college, it follows over because, the foundation is built around competing. and kids in that area that, you know, a lot of them have no choice but to compete from the time they start walking.
Tim, it's Matt Rochelle from the Orlando Sentinel again. Obviously, UCF developed a reputation over the last couple of years for its high-powered offense. How do you envision this offense being under Gus Malzahn and what he wants to do with it, and where do you kind of fit in on that plan as well?
We're gonna have fun. We're gonna have fun. We're gonna be, you know, an aggressive offense. If any time you watch Coach Malzahn's offense, you know, it starts with being able to control the line of scrimmage and then being able to get the ball downfield. You know, when you look at our guys and you know, the depth at certain positions, you certainly feel like we can continue to do that. But, you know, we're gonna be a high octane offense. We're gonna be exciting and we're gonna have fun and you know, we're gonna hopefully give our fans a lot to be excited about moving forward.
Coach, Andrew Glukov, Black and Gold Banneret again. You're a track and field guy, you know, multi-year All-American at Miami.
Right.
How has your track and field experience at the top level translated to football?
Oh man, just competition. I mess with guys all the time that I coach now, and you know, I tell them, man, and in the sport that I participated in college, you know, you don't wear a helmet. So, you know, everybody had to look at me, you know, when I was out there competing. You know, you guys got helmets on. When you make mistakes and things don't go right, you kind of hitting a little bit. But no, you know, and that's just a little joke that I always do. But I think track and field, man, it's the ultimate competitive sport. You know, you're getting out there, you're just trying to beat somebody and running. And I ran the 800 meters. And my feeling is the toughest race in track and field. You're running 2 laps fast. And I think my background in doing that, you know, I kind of take that with me, you know, my guys, everything that we do on the field, you know, we're running everywhere, and it fits the, you know, the style of offense that we're going to be doing here, moving, going fast, tempo. So that fits me perfectly, you know, and I tell my guys all the time, we don't walk when we get on the green. We walk out of the locker room, we touch the grass, we're running until we get off the field.
In your system, what's an ideal running back look like? Who do you recruit?
The first thing, you know, you always want a guy that, you know, I think for a running back, the biggest thing is having a guy that has really good vision. You know, sometimes guys get caught up into, and I think they can come in all different sizes. You know, you have some guys that are bigger backs, you have some guys that are smaller, but I think if you find guys that have really good vision and you can see things and anticipate certain things and be able to stop and start. You do want a guy with good speed, but I think football is played by stopping and start. If you have a guy that can stop and start, that can see things, that can anticipate and set up blocks, you know, the size factor, you know, I think you want a mixture of a lot of different guys. I don't think everyone has to be the same. And you know, I know when you ask that question, you look for, okay, some guys will say you want a 6-foot guy that's 200 pounds. That's not the case all the time. Now, you know, those guys are great, but there are some 5'8", 180-pound guys that are really good. So what I look for are guys that, you know, just have a natural feel of running the football, being able to see things, being able to anticipate, and being able to stop and start. And when you do get to the second level, being able to make people miss in the open field. You know, I think that's super important because not all running backs, you've seen some of the really good running backs not have great top end speed. The Emmitt Smiths of the run, I know it's Hall of Famer that I'm using, but guys like that didn't have the top end 4.4 speed. So that's not always the case too. It's great when you have a guy like that, but I think there are a lot of different things that can go into what you look at as far as from a physicality standpoint. But I think vision, the ability to anticipate and ability to stop and start is super important.
Our last question from Matt.
Tim, you mentioned this about your experience with track and field. What drew you to track and field, and you know, what was that like for you, and how's that? You know, you mentioned how it helped you, but I mean, what was the 800 the only sport you ran in track and field?
No. Okay, so I'll tell you how it started off. Well, being in a football family, my dad started my brother and I, you know, off. You guys gonna go run track to get faster for football. That's how it started. And, you know, you go out and you run and you see that you have some ability in another sport, and it turned into, okay, you're going to go back next year. And next year for me turned into a career. You know, I was blessed to be good enough in it, and it gave me an opportunity to choose, whichever college I wanted to go to. But just coming up, I ran just about everything. I started off as a sprinter. We started at 10 years old, and then that, my sprinting speed kind of got away from me a little bit, and I had to get up into the middle distance area, and that's kind of where I settled.
All right, thanks everybody. That's it here for Coach.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Guys,
Appreciate it.
thank you guys. Excited to be here.